Hey, welcome back. Let's continue. So the next one is going to be tracks, and I'm just going to open up a model for us. So home, learn, samples. I'll do the UE5 Mani today. Open this up, and then here you see tracks, and it's automatically broken down in these tracks. So you've got the body, head, legs, arms, and here you can expand the tracks. It's going to expand this a bit more. Left leg, right leg, same with the arms, and it goes more into detail each track there. I usually just have it up until here, and I'll expand arms and legs when I do some touch-ups or further editing. The rest shows you how to add tracks. In my opinion, you'll only add tracks for now at least when you add weapons or if you do a mocap. So I'll just quickly show you how to do that. I'll quickly show you why tracks is necessary. So let's do a quick mocap one first. For example, I'm not going to add a track, and we're going to do a video reference. So to do video mocap as well, skipping a bit ahead, we go File, Import, Reference Video. Choose File. Then you go look for your video. I have one here already prepped. This one. You'll see, for example, the duration is 21 seconds. This one has 24 frames and 508 frames in total. Happy. And then we say import. So then what I usually do is I just move this person bit to the side so I can actually see what I'm editing. And if we do, and to do a video mocap, like I said, was 500 frames. I'm going to make it 600. Open up all the way there to 600. You can see she stops there, and it was 24 frames per second. So you can change that with the little gear at 24 frames per second. And then how to mocap it is you select the whole timeline up until where it stops. So let's say there, select the whole thing here, and we click here, mocap. Checks the model to see if this auto posing is active. 494 frames, so it's take 12 minutes, and then you can agree to that, and then it'll do the mocap for you. This mesh has to be selected. So for example, nothing selected, want to do mocap, it's not going to pick up anything. Okay, so you have to select your mesh. Click there, mocap, and we'll pick it up. So in this case, I just want to show you why you need to add a new track. My suggestion would be to put your video on another track, and also if you've got a weapon, I'll just link down my tutorial for the adding weapons to your character. That needs to be on a separate track as well. Otherwise, it's not going to work the way you want it to work. So to add a track, it's easy enough. We go here, add track, and this one I'll call video reference. Okay. And then I usually make sure, I was actually going to delete this. I usually make sure I click on my video reference when I import file, import reference video, choose file, that one, open. And I'm just going to make it short now, import. And then I can move it around wherever I want, which I usually like to do there. And now I know my video reference is going to be exactly there. So I can edit my whole animation, make all the changes. It's going to be there. But now, for example, you know what? I don't want this. So for example, I actually want this on this side. Okay, I want the arm to go up there. It's like, I'm not really happy. And we can actually fill in all this. Let's see if I can actually fill it. There we go. So I can fill all that. This, if you don't add the track, this will remember that the video is right here on this side for each keyframe there. But now, for example, I want to move this video to the right. So I click on my video, So my mesh object, move it all the way to right, it's going to remember it. And see, I can go on each keyframe and it's going to remember it exactly there. Let's do the wrong way and I'll show you what the issue is there. So as you can see, the video reference is taken off. This video reference is linked to this keyframe over here. Now I'm going to do the same thing, add a keyframe here, lift up the arm, for example. As you see here, that takes. And now I did my mocap. So my mocap is going to look something like this with the keyframes. Okay, great. So now, for example, here I actually don't see so nice. I actually want to move this mesh a bit away so I can see a little bit better. So now I'm moving my mesh here. No problem, it's there. But now look, when I go through my keyframes, it just jumps back. So like that is annoying. So you can move each one out if you want. But I find just adding a track is a lot better. So that's one track for the video, and then we can do the same track for a weapon. The weapon is going to work exactly the same. The weapon remembers the keyframe where it is on for that specific keyframe. So it's much better just to add a weapon to that. I'll do a quick referral to my previous video. I'll just throw it in there. So you select a button here, add track. I'm going to say sword. Okay. So I'm on my first keyframe here, which is the sword, and then my character. So yeah, so that's the most important part. So what you do now is you go File, Import, FBX, and I want to import a mesh. But I'm just going to leave that as is. So I say import, and I save this under Unreal here. I know you're going to use this cast iron sword FBX. So it's also important that you use a FBX file. So I'm not going to make it perfect, so just so you can get the general idea. Select your cast iron sword, and you just drag and scroll down and place it in the hand over there. So now let's see if this worked. So I'm just going to go to auto posing, going to select, let's say, frame 25 here, and I'm just going to move the hand, and there we go. Please watch that. But yes, that's the reason why I add tracks. I would always add a track if you're going to add something to that animation. So if it's a video reference, if it's a weapon, if it's a platform, anything like that, add it in a separate track just to keep it separate. So when you make changes to your model, you make changes to just the model and not just to the, for example, stairs or block, whatever it might be. So try and keep it separate as possible. What I also touch on here is how to add tracks. For example, if you just want to do like a neck, or you just want to use your fingers, or if you just want to use a hand specifically, or elbow or a joint. I've seen them do that. I've seen what it looks like. If you're starting out, I would don't even do that. You're just going to confuse yourself. I'm confused, and I've done this for a while. I don't 100% understand why people do that. I think it's just to make their life easier when they edit, but I have not used it yet. Please let me know in the comments if you do, and I'll definitely look into it if it's something I need to look into. It's going to make my life easier. But yes, that's how to add to your track. So let's go back. Okay, this was talking about centering your camera. It's going to take this mesh off. Okay, let's see. So how to move your character like this is if you select your left alt and left click. So I'm going to move it out of the way. And it's saying it's a camera setting here. Let's take a look. So this one is center camera. So centers it to the center of the animation. The feet, I've never used this. Obviously, welcome to do. Okay, so I'm not using that. Track objects of the camera. That is interesting. I have not used that either. To be quite honest, not really too much information there that I want to share. Hiding scene objects. So I've seen people use this as well, where they hide portions of the body. Welcome to do that. I have not used that before. So for example, I'm just all referring back to the tracks. So as you can see, here's my tracks. And I've got body, head, legs, arms, and for this, I don't want to see the head. So there's the little eye, there's the icon. Oh dear, now the head is gone. Or if I want to lock a track, you can lock it there as well, so no changes being made. So you can do that too. I have not used that. I personally have not used this either, hiding the points, but apparently V. So let's give it a try. Select all this, V, and there we go. It's hidden now. I can't select it. And Alt V to bring it back. So this one I actually haven't used. So you can go into selecting options. So I was always intrigued in this. So you can kind of have a little shortcut, so you don't have to double click or select certain parts. So to select areas, it's usually clicked and double click. So I'm just going to do this in joint mode so you can view a bit easier. Hands, I want to use the wrist, one click. You see my wrist changes there, but I want the whole hand to move with it. Double click, so make sure the whole hand is selected. And you see that the whole hand moves. Same thing as with the elbow, just the elbow, double click, and the whole lower arm will move. And so it just goes down like that. So for example, same with double click with the shoulder, the whole arm moves. I just want to move the shoulder, just the shoulder moves. Yeah, that's that. That's what that is. So I've never done this hotkey for selection group, so let's actually try that. Press the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's see what it does. Okay, so I'm pressing 1, upper body, 2, that's my mid, 3, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So center of mass, yeah. 8 center of mass. Okay, and let's try 5. That's the leg. Very interesting. I've never used that before, but now we know. A bit of hot points. And then the control picker I haven't used at all. So let's see how that works. Okay, so if control picker, it's Windows. We select our control picker, and it's just to add custom buttons. So for example, for ease of reference, I want to use this arm and this arm. So by selecting two arms, I double click here, and hold the shift and double click there. Right click, add one button. So one button, there's 10 objects there. So I can rename it. So let's rename it to two arms. We press the edit button here. We're done editing. And then while I'm editing, for example, I'm going to leave it there. While I'm editing, it's like move the knee. Oh, now I want to do the arms. But I don't want to go double click shift and double click the other one. I just click and then it's for two arms. And then I can edit from here. So it's just to make your life easier. I haven't used it, but your option is there. Let's do the next lesson. Manipulating settings. So W to move, and then I say control and hold right click in. Hey, and we can move it. So it's just for ease of reference, or just for ease of use. That's quite nice. Like I said, I have not used before. Control, hold right click in, and then you just move it. You can do it with anyone. That's very interesting. I've never tried this either. So they say you can press the keys. Oh, you can. I never use the keys. I find the mouse is a lot easier to do. So you can actually use your directional keys to move as well. I've never done that, but the option is there. My opinion, this is going to be one of the most helpful tips, is this global and local mode or copying. So this one I actually struggled for a little bit. I did not know what the difference was. So I'm actually going to refer to their tutorial. So with global mode, for example, this foot they're going to show now, they want the location of that foot to be exactly there with that. So I want this foot to be exactly where old foot was. And you have to make sure it's in global mode to do that. To do this, is Control C to copy and Control V to paste that foot. So you'll see they also selected joints there. So they're going to copy these joints, and they want this foot, these joints to be exactly there. So Control C, Control V, global mode, where local is more to do with okay, this shows better than I was going to explain. So global is the entire animation, and a local is for a specific. I can almost say it's like if you want to have the mesh stay a certain way on the animation or a certain part of the animation. So, for example, what they want to do is they want to keep this leg exactly the way it is. You see how it's pointing, and I want to keep it up there. So they don't want to change the points of the animation. They just want to like change the mesh. I'll see if I can add something to explain it a bit better. But this is important. I would, if I was to really invest time in there. So they're showing their global and local, and our section here is global mode and local mode. So it's there. So I might actually be able to show here. So for example, I'm going to go global mode. So I'm going to move. So let's do that. And then I'm going to move my arm here like this. Okay, let's move it like that. Okay, so I want this hand. We are in global mode. So I want the position there actually to be there, the exact same position. So how do you do that? We select it, Control C, and I want to change that back there, and we do that Control V. You see? Bounce back. All good. Okay. But now I want, you see the way the hand is sitting, so it's more natural looking than this one. So this one is like a little bit bent. So I actually want to keep it at this position, but I want the shape of the mesh or the shape of my arm to look like this. So we make sure it goes into local. Select, Control C, make sure it's selected over there. Select again, Control V. Now you see the way the shape stays. It's the exact same shape there. So I think that might actually help to explain. I hope that helps, but this is very important, I would say. It's going to make your life very much easier. So editing of tween machine. I've never tried this one personally. It's in between the frames. Okay, that makes sense. So the bigger the change is in between the frames, the more that's going to do. Okay. So for example, because the tail is so big, so if I do tween machine on this, okay. Okay, so if you want to make an edit in between, tween in between, so because my tail, I mean, this change between the tails, I'm just going to actually highlight this. Because the jump between this one and this one is so big, this one and that one is so big, if I use tween machine on this one, let's for example, I'm going to go halfway through here. Halfway through should give me like over there. Oh, I have to go to point, sorry. So if I select the point there, and then it will go around halfway. Okay. If I select these 3 points. Interesting. I've never used that before, but okay, now I know what tween machine is. That was your advanced tutorial. I'll be honest, I don't use a lot of that. I would still suggest the global and local mode is the one that you look into. So we've got the physics base. So Cascadeur loves to promote its physics. So let's quickly go into that. So what I tend to use this for, they've got all these tools you can use. If, for example, we look at this, you see this animation is very robotic, but like that. Autophysics just makes it look more lifelike. So that's what I use it for. And you should use it for as well. And I've got all these options as well to use to make it look more lifelike. That's physics, center of mass. So with the with your characters, and what it makes it look like a bit more lifelike is with the center of mass. So with auto posing, I did have. So for auto posing, I did have a section where explaining what auto posing does, but I'll just do the same thing here. So for example, it uses center of mass. So you see this is the center of mass. And then with auto posing is if I move my character something like this, I'm going to move the foot up. you see how it tries to maintain its center of mass. So like real life is we try to keep balance and the center of mass is balanced. So no matter how I pull this character, it's going to try and keep its center of mass active. We'll put it like that. Okay. So my center of mass is still still center of mass. That's what center of mass is. So so for this character that's rigged, has got auto posing on. You see all these blocks over here. It's called rigid bodies. They have a weight to it. So what Cascadeur does is it distributes the weight and then tries to or finds the center of mass and just edits the AI edits it a bit to make sure the character stays or the center of mass is in the center, which keeps the character balanced. There's also a nice tool. I would say I haven't used this before, but I've seen it. The center of mass projection, so we can do that. So it says the view icon. Okay, let's try it there. So we right click here, looks like it there. The center of mass ground. There we go. Ooh. So now we can actually see the center of mass on the ground as well, or should be able to see at least. There we go. Okay, looks better. So it shows auto posing there on the ground as well. So as you can see, it disappears, but if I click on it, it shows. So I've got settings window, center of mass, always, and close. And there you see it's always on. See, here's the explanation of the center of mass. And this is actually a great example of center of mass. You see how the character tries to maintain the center of mass. Fulcrums we talked about as well. I'll link a video onto that. Fulcrum points are also very important. Just a quick talk point about that. So fulcrum points are the points on the feet. For the dinosaur jumped, you see the fulcrum points are activating there, so that's why the dinosaur stays on the ground as well. If the autophysics doesn't pick up the fulcrum points, the dinosaur would jump like we've seen before. All that I'll show you now. So for example, you see the fulcrum points there, touching. Now both touch. And then on here as well, on the bar, you might have noticed a bar. So on the bar here as well, you might have noticed it with your animation. So here between frames 10 and 20, both feet on the air, so there's no fulcrum points touching, so it will highlight on your timeline. Yeah, so ballistics and rotation and compensation motion I'm going to do in its own little video. But yes, that's part 2. I think we need to put some more time in there. I'm actually very intrigued. I have not done this before.